Are delays getting you down? Or more likely, really weighing your clients down? Today we're going to address how to communicate with your clients about these delays in an efficient and strategic manner, because we don't want you to waste your time and your stress and your energy on them any more than you have to. We're going to raise a glass and think tank how to take your business to more profit, more free time, and more creative freedom. I'm Sandra Funk, and this is Design Sips. Cheers, y'all. The first thing to focus on is what you cannot control. And I know that might seem strange to focus on what you can't control, but we need to bring awareness to that. There is a pandemic that created a global supply chain issue, and that needs to be very clearly pointed out to your clients. What I want you to do is do your research. Go out there and find a few articles, a few points of information that explain our supply chain issues, why they're occurring, and when they're due to end. No time soon, right? Go ahead and educate those clients and make sure that they understand what's going on. I positioned it in a way to say, I'm sure you're aware, but this is a result of the pandemic and it's completely out of my control. In fact, I was reading this article about it recently and then I attached it there. We're not acting like they don't know, but we're reconfirming that this is outside of our control. And you really do need to focus on that, because the next couple things that we're going to talk about all roll back to we can only worry about what we can control. Cheers to that. So one of the big things that you need to do as a business owner and as a person who runs projects that are going much, much slower than they should be or used to, or whatever that expectation is to shift and pivot how much time you're giving to each project. So if you would normally be in this project for 12 months, but it's taking 18 months, you may need to scale back from a weekly meeting to a bi-monthly meeting. You may need to scale your in-person site visits to once a month if the construction is moving extremely slow instead of every single week. I would absolutely continue to email your client each and every week as a touch base, but I would really think through the necessity of meetings. One of my easy ways to do this is every meeting must have an agenda for me to take that meeting. There aren't meetings for the sake of meetings, and there are never meetings for the sake of bitching, about the delays. Getting together and commiserating about the negative impacts of a big global delay is moving nothing forward, and we are in the business of moving vision forward. Let your clients know, due to unforeseen circumstances that I have no control over, and also if you have an agreement that has the force majeure clause, this is where that may come into play. You need to call your lawyer and find out if your clause is applicable to scale back meetings or add an additional fee if necessary if projects are running longer than they should. Another great way to make sure that you are not spinning your wheels and spending all of your time following up on open orders that aren't coming in for 14 months still is to make sure that you systematize your follow-up, your expediting, and delegate that to someone who can oversee it as well or better than you could do it, so that you can take your focus onto the next project, onto design development, onto how to move things forward in the projects that you have. I have my main vendors, for instance, my window treatment person, my shower glass guy, my stone guy, and I have an email templated for each of them that goes out once a week, once a month, every couple of weeks, depending on how many projects we have going and when the timelines are coming in, like how close we are to install or estimated ship dates, etc. So for instance, I'm not going to send an email to my window treatment supplier for every individual client. Instead, I'm going to batch all open projects, all open orders on one email that's pre-written and very clear with the side marks and the purchase orders and all the details. And I'm going to have that email go out once a week, once a month, every couple of weeks, whatever we set together. It's going to get closer when we are about to receive goods and further when we are way back in the pipeline. So it's once a month until we're a month out, and then it's once a week because it's time to get that actually installed. And then I'm going to delegate that to a team member. They are going to send that email on the prescribed rhythm. It's all in our task management system. They're going to comment any updates that come back from the vendor week by week, month by month, whatever it is. And then they're going to take that update to the also templated client emails that go out every single week. So if we have any big moves or jumps or issues, the client's going to get an update as needed as well. So when you can clarify and delegate this follow-up, you can keep your head on straight. Don't get mired down in negativity or delays or issues. You can make sure that you're getting those updates and your clients are getting those updates that they need while staying in CEO mode. Going out and talking to new potential clients, going out and making it rain, hiring and delegating to new employees. Whatever that CEO role that you're doing is, it's not getting mired down in negativity and endless follow-up chit-chat with your vendors and trades. I think we should drink to that. Cheers. So you've heard me mention these consistent weekly emails to your clients. Let me explain a little bit further. Every single client that we work with gets an email from the day they sign that agreement to become our client to the day that we give them their final parting gift, usually a photo book of all the gorgeous photography that we did at their project. Every single week from signing a contract to photos, they get an email from us. Ours are on Friday. We love the Friday rhythm. They have time to read it over the weekend. We often come back to the answers to the questions we need or a nice response on Monday morning. When you do this week in and week out and you never miss a beat, your clients are building trust. They're seeing you as an expert in project management. They never wonder what's happening. They always know that come Friday, they will get the update. What also happens naturally when you're this consistent and this trustworthy and this systematized in your processes is your clients stop calling you, texting you, emailing you. They know they're gonna get their updates, so they stop nudging you constantly for those updates. This is also more efficient because you are not responding to a one-off email, responding to a phone call, hair on fire, I haven't heard from you in 3 weeks and I have no idea what's going on. That never happens ever in my firm because every client knows come Friday, they will have the answers, they will know what's going on, they will get that full project update email. It's literally gold. If you're not doing this, just try it. Does it sound like a pain in your butt? It shouldn't. This is the first thing that you delegate to the executive assistant, the virtual assistant, even an intern. You write these emails personally. You set up the language, the tone, how you want it to go, open orders, things I need from you, timeline of what's to come, niceties about have a good weekend, whatever it is, and then you delegate this to a team member. It's repeated every single Thursday for you to take a glance at it and make sure that the latest and greatest email is updated. You give it your blessing, assign it back to your assistant. They send those emails out Friday, and then they also cultivate the responses. If you haven't already given your assistant the login to your email, you need to do that right now. Hit pause. Go give them the login to your email. Get out of your email inbox and get back into your CEO role. It will change your business. One of the things that I've always done, because I learned so many lessons, is that I don't start a project. A lot of our projects are demo renovations. Also, I wouldn't start a build until I have the significant, important items that are crazy long lead times. For instance, bathtubs, windows, and appliances. Don't even start. Don't even break ground until you have these things, or at least have really good information on when they're coming in from a vendor or a trade that you truly, truly trust. For me, when I'm doing a renovation, I literally will not gut that renovation until we have those significant installed items in our hot little hands, in our warehouse, ready to go. With all the delays going on right now and the issues, it just doesn't make any sense to gut someone's home and then make them wait while we wait for goods to come in. Instead, put off starting that project, put off gutting it, and send them their weekly email, but do nothing else. There's nothing to meet about, there's nothing to converse about with the contractor, with the client, nothing, right? Everything is designed, everything is ordered. We are sitting tight until the goods that need to be installed are in. At which point you're in communication with the contractor, the architect, all of them. You have your estimates, right? So you're saying, listen, everything should be in late summer, and I'm in communication with everyone that's related to this team, and we're on track to start late summer so that everything has been in catalog and it's in our warehouse. I cannot tell you how important this is to start doing if you're not doing it already, because it allows you to say, okay, late summer we start that project. My slate is cleared until then. I can work on this, I can take a new project, I can start the design phase and get on order another project from here to late summer, and then late summer I'm executing this project while waiting for the goods on the next one. And you know, when you can get a really good pipeline and clarity, and you can start to see that lay out, you can start to understand that your projects are taking a really long time, but you can take on more projects if you don't spend your time spinning your wheels and commiserating about these delays. Instead, set that project down. Let those weekly emails continue and get busy on the next thing. So I mentioned that I learned the lesson of making sure I have all the installed items before I got a project many times. And it goes hand in hand with one of my favorite kind of potential client lessons that I go over with every potential client. It's called the emotional timeline of a design project. And it basically talks about, you know, the ups and downs of being excited and waiting for designs to come in and being excited and waiting for purchases. But what's the really important part is that we know emotionally, once we've gutted their space and taken all their money for all the products and all the design, right? That there's this like low in the project, and it goes on until like that final install. The cabinetry goes in, the countertops go in, you know, the poles are going on, the beautiful sconces are going up, right? Like that's when the emotions start to go back up again. But there's a long time between gutting a project and final installs happening, like the pretty part, right? Very long, and longer now. And so what I've learned over the years is the less time you can spend in that very tough emotional bottom of the design project, the better. And so one of the key ways to spend less time there is to have everything that's needed to move that project forward cataloged and in a warehouse before you got that project. The goal is to have our emotional timeline of the project very short at the bottom and then really high at the end when we deliver a gorgeous, beautiful, functional room. So that's how I learned that you want to make sure to just decrease that. Once we put it on a chart, it was like mind-blowing. I was like, oh, we don't want to spend any time. As little time as possible. And again, what part of this can I control? What part of this as a designer do I contribute to? And it's waiting for the tub, waiting for the trim kit, waiting for the sconces, right? Have you ever been in a situation where the contractor and the client are all arms folded looking at you because the goods aren't in? Well, I don't like to be in that position, so I don't put myself in that position ever anymore at all. One of the most important things about these longer lead times, these delays, the issues, the construction, all of it, is to put the emotional baggage of this down. When we carry guilt or struggle or anger, or we get into like sweaty kid mode and we're like, is it here yet? Is it here yet? Have you seen it? Like, we're not giving any value. We're not giving our expertise to the project. We're becoming a crazy person getting whipped up into the crazy. Don't let yourself get whipped up into the crazy. We know that we can't control how long it takes to get goods right now, or how long it takes to get a contractor on a job site, or how long it takes for a contractor to get their materials. So set it down. It's not on you. Don't feel guilty. And I don't mean to say don't be apologetic, but don't take it on as if you have control when you don't have control. I will send an email to a client saying this unfortunate situation. But I will not say, I'm sorry that rug isn't going to be in for another couple of months, because I'm not in control of when that rug comes in. I will say, unfortunately, the delay has been increased. You know, something is going on with the supply chain, and maybe there's another ship stuck in a canal somewhere. But at the end of the day, it's not my personal guilt. I'm not doing anything to make this happen. When I take an order, I place an order, I acknowledge it, I follow it up, I give them their weekly status, right? I'm doing everything that I can. I want their home to be beautiful. I want to execute and complete beautiful projects. The only thing that you can do is accept this new reality and work within it. If you're not already pipelining out your projects and actually adding in real ETAs and looking at this bigger picture and finding the holes and finding where you can take on more projects that take longer, right? Then you should be, because this is our reality right now, and it's going to be like this until it's not. So accept it, work with it, look for the ways that you can make it work for you, stay in really close contact with your clients so that they see you and trust you and know that you have their back. Commiserate with them now and again, but please don't continue to take meetings where the only thing that we're doing is kicking around the dirt because we can't, the windows haven't come in or whatever it is. put a pin in it, put it on hold, stay in contact, and keep it moving. So, have your, okay, that was good. Now that you're not running around like crazy, taking the weight of the world of all of these delays on your own personal shoulders, go check out my other video on how to scale your design firm, because you need to spend a little time in the CEO level mindset. Cool? Awesome. I'll see you next time. Cheers.